Hey, second grade, Mrs. Shannon here. I'm here to read our read aloud story for today titled Mr. Putter and Tabby See the Stars by Cynthia Rylant. Remember that our essential question for this week is, what can we see in the sky? We will read about what Mr. Putter and Tabby see in the nighttime sky. Remember that our comprehension skill of the week is sequence. The sequence tells the order of events in the story. We can use the words first, next, then, and last to tell the order of what happens. So, as I read today, I want you to be thinking about what happens first, next, then, and last in our story. We will work with the story again tomorrow on Friday when we create our sequence chart with it. But today, you're just going to listen. Here's a reminder of what our graphic organizer will look like for this week. Again, we will use this graphic organizer tomorrow when we use it for the story. Chapter 1, Logs. Mr. Putter and his fine cat, Tabby, loved to sleep. They could sleep anywhere. They slept in chairs, in swings, in cars, in tubs, and sometimes in the laundry room. Mr. Putter and Tabby also slept in a bed. Of course, most of the time, sleeping in a bed was just fine. Mr. Putter plumped his pillow. Tabby squished hers. And then they slept like logs. But one night, one of the logs could not sleep. Chapter 2, Grumble. Mr. Putter was the log who could not sleep. He could not sleep because he had eaten too many pineapple jelly rolls at Mrs. Teaberry's house. Mrs. Teaberry was Mr. Putter's good friend and neighbor, and she liked to feed him. She liked to feed everybody, but most of all, she liked to feed Mr. Putter. She was always sending her good dog, Zeke, over to Mr. Putter's house with a note. The note always said, "Are you hungry?" And Mr. Putter always said, "Yes." So he and Tabby went next door a lot. But tonight, Mr. Putter had been having such a good time that he lost track and ate 21 jelly rolls. He forgot to count them as he popped them in one at a time into his mouth. Before he knew it, 21 jelly rolls were gone, and it was time to go home. Mrs. Teaberry was happy that Mr. Putter enjoyed her jelly rolls so much. But Mr. Putter's stomach was not. It grumbled and grumbled and grumbled. Mr. Putter looked at his nice soft bed when he got home. Grumble, grumbled his stomach. Mr. Putter knew he would not be able to sleep with all that grumbling. What to do? Mr. Putter looked at Tabby. Then he got an idea. Chapter 3, Stars. "Let's go for a walk," Mr. Putter said. He put his coat back on. He put his hat back on. He picked up Tabby, and out the door they went. It was a beautiful night. The moon was full, and moonlight was everywhere. Tabby looked. She listened. She twitched her ears. She twitched her tail. She loved the night. Mr. Putter loved it too, even with a grumbling stomach. All right, second graders, I see a stop and check. It's telling us to reread and find out the answer to this question. Why is Mr. Putter's stomach grumbling? Who can remember? Why is his stomach grumbling? That's right. He ate 21 jelly rolls at Mrs. Teaberry's house, so his stomach does not feel very well, and it keeps grumbling. Let's continue on. Mr. Putter looked up at the sky. He showed Tabby the stars, and he told her all about them. He told her that the Big Dipper was full of milk from the Milky Way. Tabby purred. She loved milk. He told her about looking at stars when he was a boy, and how he had always wanted to ride in a rocket ship. He told her how he had always dreamed of adventure. Tabby purred some more. Mr. Putter and Tabby made a nice big circle around the neighborhood. They looked at the sky. They looked at the yellow lights of the houses. They looked at cats sitting in windows, looking back at them. And when they at last circled back home, they stopped in front of Mrs. Teaberry's house. Mrs. Teaberry and Zeke were on the front lawn. "Mrs. Teaberry, what are you doing up?" asked Mr. Putter. "Zeke has a grumbling stomach," said Mrs. Teaberry. "He ate too many jelly rolls, and we can't sleep." Mr. Putter and Tabby were delighted. They sat on the lawn with Mrs. Teaberry and Zeke. Mr. Putter's stomach and Zeke's stomach talked to each other, while Mr. Putter and Mrs. Teaberry talked to each other. They told stories in the moonlight. They told secrets. They made each other laugh. Then, when the stomachs on the front lawn stopped grumbling, everyone said good night and went to bed and slept like logs. In the morning, Mr. Putter heard a scratching at the door. He opened it. It was Zeke with a note. The note said, "Are you hungry?" Mr. Putter smiled. He picked up Tabby, and together they walked next door. All right, second graders, that brings us to the end of our read aloud for today. I'm wondering if you can remember what happened at the beginning of the story. I'm wondering if you would be able to retell this story to someone who hasn't read it yet. Maybe you could retell it by telling them what happened first, next, then, and last. We will be going over this tomorrow during reading, so be thinking about what you would put down for first, next, then, and last for the sequence of our story. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story as much as I did reading it. This is a series, Mr. Putter and Tabby, and there are more books with these same characters. Maybe try to look them up from our McLean Library. See you later, second graders.